All right, beauty enthusiast, get ready to dive deep into the trends that'll be shaping 2025. We're taking Birdie's 15 Biggest Beauty Trends article and breaking down what's hot so you can refresh your look this year.
We're not just skimming the surface here. It's about understanding the why behind the trends, how they reflect big cultural shifts.
Exactly. It's about the bigger picture. So first up, let's talk color palettes. What shades are we going to be seeing everywhere in 2025?
Get ready for berries, 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 but not just any berries. Think deep, rich, almost moody tones like burgundy and plum.
Ooh, that's interesting. So not your typical bright reds and pinks. This is a bit more dramatic, wouldn't you say?
Yeah, makeup artist Sean actually predicts burgundy eyeliner will be huge this year. Just imagine lining your eyes with a deep wine color.
Wow, that's definitely a statement. It seems like 2025 is all about embracing these richer, darker shades.
Absolutely. And that richness extends to hair color, too. Pantone's color of the year, Mocha Mousse, is inspiring a whole new wave of brunette.
Mocha mousse. Okay, that sounds delicious. But what does that translate to in hair color? I'm intrigued.
Think warm, chocolatey browns. Really universally flattering. Expert Renee Valerie is even calling this the year of the brunette because this shade is just so versatile and luxurious.
So we've got bold berries and rich mocha. What about those of us who prefer a more, understated palette?
Minimalist camel tones are trending strong for those who love that chic, neutral look. Think soft beiges, taupes, maybe even some light grays.
Oh, I love those shades. Timeless and elegant. I'm already picturing a sleek mocha mousse manicure with a camel-colored outfit.
Yeah.
So chic.
You got it. And speaking of manicures, that brings us to nails.
All right, let's talk nails. I'm always up for trying new things with my nails. What are we going to be seeing everywhere in 2025?
Well, first off, almond-shaped nails are making a comeback. It's a classic shape, really elongates the fingers, and works beautifully on both long and short nails.
Almond shape is definitely a favorite of mine. Super polished. But what about those of us who want something a little more, trendy?
Velvet cat eye manicures are still trending, but this year it's all about lighter shades and an even stronger glass-like finish, like really high shine.
Oh, I love a good cat eye manicure. And I bet those lighter shades really make that velvet finish pop.
Exactly. Now, let's move on from nails and talk hair transformations, because 2025 is all about making a statement.
Okay, we've got our color palettes down. Time to talk cuts and styles. What are the hottest hair trends for 2025? Spill the tea.
Bobs and lobs everywhere. Stylists are saying these cuts will be huge this year.
Bobs and lobs. Yeah, I've been seeing them pop up more and more lately. What makes them so popular for 2025, do you think?
Well, they're super versatile, They can suit so many different hair textures and face shapes. And they have this effortless chicness that feels very... Now we're seeing a few key variations, too.
Okay, break it down for me. What kind of bobs and lobs are we talking?
So we've got the supermodel bob, inspired by Cindy Crawford's iconic 90s look. Think Zendaya's recent voluminous textured bob. It's all about that glossy shine and effortless volume.
That sounds stunning. But what about those of us who prefer a, sleeker look?
The attire bob is perfect for minimalists. Think Lily James's jaw-length cut. Sharp, chic, effortlessly sophisticated.
Okay, so we've got volume, we've got sleek. Well, what about those of us who aren't quite ready to go full bob?
The modern 90s lob is here to stay. Think Hailey Bieber and Sophie Turner's sleek styles with those subtle underlayers for movement and swing.
I love that these bobs and lobs are drawing inspiration from 90s styles. It feels fresh, but also kind of nostalgic.
But what about long hair? Any trends for those of us with long locks?
Of course. For longer hair, think long, fluid layers that enhance natural texture and movement without being obviously choppy. Think Blake Lively or Sarah Jessica Parker's effortlessly tousled styles.
Okay, so whether you're going for a dramatic chop or embracing those long locks, there's a style for everyone. But what about color? We talked about mocha brown, but what other shades are making a statement in 2025? Red hair is being reinvented. Think deeper, bolder shades of red this year. Rich pomegranate hues like what we've seen on Dua Lipa, Zendaya, and Billie Eilish. It's such a powerful and vibrant look.
So red is definitely not going anywhere, just getting a fierce upgrade for 2025. Now let's move on to a trend I am personally excited about, embracing natural beauty.
Yes. This is all about celebrating your unique features and letting your natural beauty shine through.
I love that. It's about time we moved away from that one-size-fits-all approach to beauty. But what does this actually look like? like in practice?
Well, for hair, it's all about ditching the heat styling and letting your natural texture take center stage. Think Lauryn Hill's iconic 90s curls, but amplified. Embrace those waves, coils, and curls in all their glory.
Yes. It's about working with your hair's natural texture, not against it. And it's not just about hair texture, right? What other features are we celebrating?
Freckles are having a moment, big time. Whether they're natural, drawn on, or even glittery, like Taylor Swift, the message is clear. The more freckles, the better.
I love that. It's all about showcasing those unique details that make you, you. What a refreshing trend.
Exactly. It's about individuality and self-expression.
Now, I'm curious about makeup trends. What are we seeing there?
Well, while embracing natural beauty is huge, there's definitely also space for making a statement. And one way to do that, shimmer and shine. Remember Demi Moore's look at the Golden Globes?
Oh, yes. That shimmery eyeshadow was amazing. It really caught my eye.
Right. Get ready for shimmery eyeshadow to make a dazzling comeback in 2025.
So we've got shimmering lids, natural texture, and bold berry tones. I'm loving these trends already.
Me too. And there's more. Another way to make a statement in 2025, chrome accents.
Ooh, chrome accents. Tell me more. I'm intrigued.
From minimalist hints to full-on 3D chrome, metallics are adding a touch of glam to nails this year.
So there's a metallic style for everyone.
Right.
Now, we touched on nail art earlier, but are there any other nail trends we should be on the lookout for?
Nail art is getting even more adventurous this year. Think 3D elements, textured finishes, cherries, seashells, abstract art. It's taking those 2024 trends to a whole new level.
I love how nail art is becoming like mini masterpieces on your fingertips.
Right.
Now, we talk about how the 90s are inspiring some hair trends, but is that nostalgia showing up anywhere else?
Makeup, for sure. Get ready for the resurgence of some iconic 90s makeup looks, like the MAC Spice lip liner look, like Lily Rose Depp.
Ah, the 90s. So we've got berry lips, 90s nostalgia, and shimmering lids. 2025 is shaping up to be a very exciting year for makeup. Okay, last but not least, let's talk about skin. What kind of complexion trends are we seeing?
Well, dewy skin is still popular, but 2025 will see a shift toward a more natural, soft focus, almost airbrush effect, like what we see with Ana de Armas. It's all about that flawless yet natural look.
So it's a refined take on the dewy skin trend. We're seeing that less is more approach in a lot of these trends, actually.
Absolutely. It's about enhancing your natural features, not masking them.
I love that approach. Now, before we move on to part 2 of this deep dive, where we'll really unpack the bigger picture and what these trends mean for us, I want to make sure we haven't missed any key takeaways from this first part.
That's a good point. You know what stands out to me? It's this fascinating interplay between boldness and naturalness. On one hand, we're seeing these bold colors and dramatic cuts, but at the same time, there's this huge emphasis on embracing natural texture and features.
Yeah, it's like this balancing act between making a statement and highlighting your natural beauty.
Right, exactly. And I think that's what makes the 2025 beauty trends so exciting. They're all about finding that sweet spot where you feel confident and authentically you.
I love that. Well, on that note, let's take a quick break and come back for part 2, where we'll delve even deeper into these trends and explore what they mean for all of us. Stay tuned. Welcome back to our 2025 Beauty Trends Deep Dive. Are you ready to see how these trends are actually wearable? And how they reflect some bigger ideas about beauty, too. Absolutely.
Yeah.
I'm already brainstorming ways to incorporate some of these looks into my routine.
Yeah.
Got to stay on trend.
Right. And that's the thing, isn't it? These trends aren't about, following strict rules. It's more about finding what works for you and adapting them to your own, style and personality.
That's all about self-expression, not conformity.
Exactly. I think that's such an empowering message, especially these days, right? When we're constantly bombarded with images of perfection.
It's so refreshing to see trends that celebrate individuality and really encourage us to embrace those unique features.
Speaking of embracing uniqueness, let's talk about that natural hair texture trend. This one seems to be resonating with a lot of people.
Yeah. I love that we're moving away from that one-size-fits-all approach to hair. Waves, curls, coils, bring it on.
It's about time, right? For so long, the focus has been on straightening or manipulating hair to fit a certain ideal. But now it's about working with your hair's natural texture, not against it.
But what about those of us who still love to, style our hair? Can we still incorporate these trends and have fun with different styles?
Absolutely. The key is to work with your natural texture, not try to force it into something it's not. Like if you have curly hair, maybe instead of straightening it, try enhancing your natural curls with products that, define and hydrate them.
What about those of us with, say, fine or straight hair? How can we add texture and volume without always relying on heat styling?
Ooh, so many options. You can try texturizing sprays, mousses, even dry shampoo can add some volume and grit. And you can always experiment with braids, twists, those overnight rollers to create waves and texture, all without heat.
So it's about finding the techniques and products that work with your natural hair type, whatever that may be.
Exactly. And don't be afraid to ask your stylist for some personalized advice. They can recommend products and techniques that, really help you achieve that look you're going for.
Yeah, and I think a lot of people are intimidated by their natural hair texture because, we've been conditioned to think it's unruly or difficult. But it's all about finding the right products and techniques, right?
Totally. And it's also about a mindset shift, Instead of seeing our natural texture as something to be tamed, let's embrace it, celebrate it.
I love that. And it's not just hair, is it? This whole embracing your natural features thing extends to like everything. Freckles, skin texture, all of it.
Exactly. Remember what we were saying about freckles? They used to be something people tried to hide, but now they're seen as beautiful and unique, something to be celebrated.
It's about appreciating the beauty in imperfection.
Yes. And I think that's such a powerful message. True beauty comes from within, and those imperfections, well, they're often what make us unique and interesting, right?
Okay, let's shift gears a bit and talk makeup. We talked about some bolder trends like those shimmery lids and berry lips. But what about those of us who prefer a more natural makeup look? Are there ways to incorporate these trends without, going overboard?
Definitely. The key is to choose one or two trends that speak to you and incorporate them subtly into your routine. Like, say you love that shimmery lid trend, you could use a sheer wash of shimmery shadow instead of going full-on glitter.
And if you're into those berry lips, maybe try a tinted lip balm or a sheer lipstick in a berry shade instead of super bold matte lipstick.
Exactly. It's all about finding that balance between staying true to your personal style and, having fun and trying something new.
It's interesting how these trends are playing with this idea of balance, isn't it? Like this push and pull between making a statement, but also embracing that natural beauty.
Yeah, you're right. That's what makes these 2025 trends so fascinating. It's not about following a bunch of rules. It's about exploring different aesthetics and finding what works best for you.
I think a lot of that has to do with that 90s nostalgia we're seeing in so many of these trends, too.
Totally. The 90s were all about individuality and self-expression. And we're seeing that same spirit reflected in the beauty trends of 2025.
But it's not just about, directly copying those 90s looks.
No, it's about capturing the attitude, the energy, using beauty as a tool to, express your personality and style, like that MAC Spice lip liner look, the one Lily Rose Depp favors. It's not just about the liner itself, it's the attitude it conveys.
Right. We're seeing that in the hair trends, too, like that supermodel bob inspired by Cindy Crawford.
It's not just about the haircut, it's about channeling that confidence and power.
It's about owning your look and feeling good in your skin no matter what that looks like.
Exactly. And that's what makes the 2025 beauty trends so empowering. They're not about conforming to a specific standard. They're about celebrating individuality and embracing what makes you, you.
I love that. And it's so important for people to hear that message, especially now, right, with social media and all these filtered images everywhere.
I couldn't agree more. It's more important than ever to promote self-love and acceptance and to really show people that they don't need to conform to, unrealistic beauty standards.
I think these trends we're seeing in the beauty industry reflect a bigger cultural shift that's happening towards inclusivity and authenticity.
Totally agree. People aren't content to just fit in anymore. They want to stand out and, express their unique personalities.
And that's a beautiful thing.
It really is. Something to be celebrated.
So what does all this mean for our listeners as they're navigating the world of beauty in 2025? What should they keep in mind?
It means they have the freedom to experiment, to play with their look. Don't be afraid to try new things. Step outside that comfort zone a little bit.
And remember, there are no rules. You don't have to follow every trend exactly. Choose the ones that speak to you and, adapt them to your own personal style.
Right. It's all about finding what makes you feel confident and beautiful.
Yeah, this has been such an insightful conversation. We've really gone beyond the surface of these trends and explored what they say about, how our ideas of beauty are evolving.
Yeah, we've covered a lot of ground, but there's still so much more to explore.
You're right. Before we wrap up this part of our deep dive and move on to some practical tips you can use to actually try out these trends yourself, what's been the biggest takeaway for you? What stood out?
I think what's fascinating to me is how these trends aren't just, superficial changes to our appearance. They reflect a much deeper shift in how we see beauty and how we see ourselves. It's about embracing individuality, celebrating diversity, and challenging those old, outdated notions of what it means to be beautiful.
That's beautifully said. I think that's such an important message for our listeners to take away from this conversation.
Definitely.
Okay, on that note, let's take a quick break and come back for part 3, where we'll explore how you can actually incorporate these trends into your own life and find what works for you. Stay tuned. And we're back for the final part of our 2025 Beauty Trends Deep Dive. We've talked about the hottest shades, the must-have cuts, and the coolest styles. But even more importantly, I think we've really gotten into what these trends mean. How they reflect this shift toward inclusivity and self-expression.
Exactly. And now let's bring it all together. We talked about the why. Now let's get to the how. How can our listener actually use these trends? Make them their own.
That's what I'm thinking. It's fun to talk trends, but how do we actually translate them into, real-life looks?
Well, the first thing is to figure out which trends really speak to you. Don't feel like you got to try everything. Just pick one or two that really resonate with your style and start experimenting a little.
Okay, so say I'm really drawn to those bold berry tones we talked about. What's an easy way to, incorporate that into my routine?
Maybe try swapping your usual black eyeliner for a deep burgundy one. It's subtle, but it makes a difference. Or, if you're feeling bold, try a plum-colored eyeshadow.
Ooh, I like that. And what about those of us who are excited about this whole embracing natural texture thing? Where do we even start?
Just start by putting down the heat styling tools for a couple days and see what your hair does naturally. Embrace those waves, curls, coils, and then find products that work with your natural texture, not against it.
So if I have curly hair, I should look for things that define and hydrate my curls instead of trying to, force them straight.
Exactly. There are so many great products out there specifically for different hair textures. Don't be afraid to ask your stylist or even check out online forums and reviews.
Good advice. Okay, last question about the practical stuff. What about nail art? Any tips for using those 3D embellishments and textured finishes we were talking about?
Go bold. Maybe try a statement nail with a 3D cherry or seashell. Or if you want something subtler, try a textured top coat. Add some dimension without being too much.
These are all such great practical tips. But beyond the specifics, what's the most important mindset to have when you're experimenting with these trends?
Just don't take it too seriously. Have fun with it. Play around and see what works. There's no right or wrong way to interpret these trends. It's really all about expressing yourself.
I love that. And remember, you don't have to go all in. You can take bits and pieces of the trends you like and just weave them into your current look.
Exactly. The goal is to find what makes you feel confident and beautiful.
Before we wrap up, I want to circle back to something we talked about a bit earlier. The whole idea of beauty standards and how they're changing. What's the one thing you want our listener to remember about all this?
Beauty isn't about fitting into some narrow mold anymore. It's about embracing what makes you unique and celebrating that. Don't be afraid to stand out.
I love that. So, as we wrap up our 2025 Beauty Trends Deep Dive, I'd love to leave our listeners with one final thought. With all these amazing trends out there, what will you try? How will you express your own unique style?
Remember, beauty is a journey, not a destination. Keep exploring, keep experimenting, and most importantly, have fun with it.
That's a perfect way to end this. Thanks for joining us on this deep dive into the trends that'll be shaping beauty in 2025. We hope you're feeling inspired to embrace your individuality and rock your own style. Until next time, stay beautiful.